So you believe revival could be upon us. We could be on the precipice of it. What convinces you of that?
There's several things. One is I think people have been praying for a long time. There's never been in the history of the world where revival has broken out that prayer didn't precede it. So we've got a lot of people praying for it. I think we're seeing some tremors of revival already in place. A lot of it's happening on college campuses, Billy. I mean, you look at just lots of them where been student-led. Part of it is because I'm one of these folks that believes the Lord's going to come back pretty soon, and I firmly believe that before He does, there will be a revival to include as many people in His church at the point of rapture as possible. The third is, or the fourth one is that I've just been thinking and praying, and I'm not going to say it's a word from the Lord, but I really believe that the time is right for a revival. I'm greatly excited about that. It's a time that many of us have been looking for. We've been preparing for that at Southern Evangelical Seminary. My only concern, Billy, is that I don't think the church is ready for it.
What makes you say that?
Well, for one thing, you've got 6% of the people who are Christians in America who have a biblical worldview.
Maybe even less.
That's being gracious.
Yeah.
You've got 51% of the pastors in America and evangelical churches who have a biblical worldview. If you reverse that, that means almost half of them don't. You've got a lot of churches who don't, and in fact, 95% of our churches don't have effective discipleship programs within their walls. So you couple that with the idea that a lot of this the revivals that we're seeing may be, to some extent, explosions of emotion. And to offset that, you've got to have a strong church, a strong body of Christ, and I use that in its strongest biblical sense, to come in and offer the foundations for growth for those folks that will, I think, come to the Lord. Franklin Graham and I have had many conversations about that. You know, they'll come in and have a festival. His father used to do the Crusades, and many people will come to the Lord, and then they depend on the local church to come in and fill that void when they leave. And a lot of times it doesn't happen, at least now, because the church structure is not there as it one time was in America.
Yeah, I mean, the explosion of emotion in itself is not necessarily a bad thing. It's sort of been,
it's not.
But it's sort of been painted that way, like, oh, these kids are just emotional. But you need somebody to take that emotion and guide it into something.
Absolutely.
Solid,
Let me just give you an example. You've got obstetricians who care for a woman who's getting ready to have a baby. My wife and I have had 4. But when that baby comes into the world, the obstetrician passes that child off to a pediatrician. And that's what we're missing. We're missing that facilitator of life for that new child in God to come along and grow. And that's one of the things that we're focusing on at Southern Evangelical Seminary is we're calling it Truth That Matters, and we're really working with training disciple makers to seed churches with disciple makers, to seed families with disciple makers. And I think it's going to make all the difference in the world in sustaining the revival that's going to be coming.
You know, do you think some people have felt revival is here? You know, there's been sort of this debate, you know, and there's terminology, and we're arguing about different terms, and people are, you know, calling it different things, not revival. But do you think it's possible it's already started?
Oh, when I say there's been tremors, it's almost like I think if there had been a really start of a revival, we would know it. I mean, it wouldn't be any question in our mind, because I think it's going to be something like we've never seen in my lifetime, at least. But I think we're seeing the tremors that occur before an earthquake, if you will. And I think we're seeing those tremors occurring, but I don't think we've seen the earthquake yet.
Yeah. So if people want to get help being trained, right? They want to take advantage of what you're offering. Where can they go to do that? Where can they go to learn?
It's ses.edu. It's just a discipleship program, but it's going to go into a community of faith that will be what we're calling a virtual faith link, to where people can go into this program, be trained as a disciple maker. They will end up having coaches, and it would be one that where a mother or father could disciple a child. It could be used in a church. It could be used in a small group. You could even disciple 40 or 50 people with it. the idea of also backing that up with apologetic training so that the full faith and credit of what we teach at SES will be behind that. So if you run into a question that's hard for a normal layperson to answer, you're going to have a video right there to help you. If somebody says, well, I don't know how God could allow evil in the world, we'll have resources there to answer that question so that you don't have to worry about being a philosopher or a theologian in order to accomplish what you need to do.
Well, I so appreciate you taking the time and breaking it all down for us today.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining me.
Appreciate it.